This is It's Going to Be Okay with Dr. Roseann, and I'm Dr. Roseann. If you don't know about me, you can hop over to our website, which is chock full of resources for parents, drroseann.com. And if you're looking for a community, you can also go to drroseann.com/group. We have our Natural Parenting Solutions group that is a tribe for people who are looking for science-backed ways to improve their child's behavior and brain that isn't going to be harmful. And that's what everything I do is about. Today, we're talking about building coping skills. I think what I have learned from our Facebook community, what I've learned from so many of you that have messaged me about, this show and the different things that we're doing is your kids are dysregulated. And when your kids are dysregulated, they need coping skills. And today we're talking about coping skills for kids that have things like ADHD, ASD, sensory processing disorder, anxiety, mood issues, PANS and PANDAS, OCD. They need coping skills. So we're going to this is a kickoff of a 3-part series on building coping skills. And everybody can get coping skills. So, what are coping skills, right? It's how you manage stressful events, right? What's in your toolkit? Like, what does your kid, how do they problem solve? How do they view? How do they manage? And how do they recover from stress? It all boils down to those all important coping skills and having resources where even if things are rough, right, you have an ability to tolerate stress and still problem solve, right? And yes, these are skills we build over time. You're not born with them. Temperament is a factor, right? I'm a stress slayer, and that's because I see myself as Neo in the Matrix. I literally do. And I'm always like, okay, what am I analyzing? Where are things connected? That's why people hop on an airplane every week and come out to see me, because I really am Neo in the Matrix. If you hang out with me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. My friend Cynthia says I freak her out all the time. But you have to be able to manage stress. So when things go wrong, right, what do I do? I've learned over time, and our kids are capable, even if they have autism, even if they have PANS and PANDAS, even if they have anxiety and OCD, okay? It's just harder, okay? There's no magic wand. A pill is not going to build coping skills. And why are coping skills important? Every flipping day is going to be a stressor, people. Every day, right? From the kid who's annoying in class to the bus driver, the ride over where your kid gets nauseous, to you ran out of their favorite cookie, whatever it is, or their dog died. I mean, big things. So coping skills are what builds resilience, what builds self-regulation, what builds grit. And we need these skills in life in every aspect, not just for today, right? But for all future activities, right? In relationships, in jobs, all that other stuff. Remember, our goal is to create independent human beings. Yeah. Okay. Can you sit on that for a minute? Our goal is to create independent human beings. And we need to teach them problem solving skills. And coping skills really is like, what do you have in your toolkit, right? So, for those of us that are really good with stress, right? It's not like my body that likes it, but I'm like, okay, I know what's really important. When you have a kid with PANS who, again, you've heard me talk, I didn't know if I should call, the priest or an ambulance. I didn't know what I should do when things were bad, but I now know what's really important, and I know who's important in my life too. So stressors are going to be present. It's how we view them, and your kids need practice. So let's talk about why our kids need even more reinforcement and patience. Our special needs kids, our kids with learning, processing issues, they need a boatload of reinforcement. So if you haven't heard me say this, it takes 34 times in doing something to learn it at an innate level. Okay. So, how you cut your tomatoes. Okay. You had to do it 34 times for your brain to do it on autopilot. Well, when you have a learning and processing issue, It is 3 times minimum that amount. Okay, so learning, processing, behavioral, emotional issue. So that's why you have to repeat yourself 100 times. So they need more reinforcement, more consistency. Okay, go back and listen to how your child's special needs impacts your marriage. That means mom and dad or whoever else in the house, you have to have core things that you're reinforcing. I'm not saying you're parenting exactly the same, but if you're parenting completely differently, it's going to interfere with learning. You're essentially working uphill. I think that's why a lot of times, the marriage gets kaput. But you have to reinforce it, right? Know that the behavior isn't on purpose, even if it feels like it is. Not saying kids never do things on purpose, but it means that most of the time the behavior is happening because their nervous system, their brain is telling them to do it. They need a lot of reinforcement. And that's the same with coping skills. So let's talk about what you can do to foster coping skills. I'm going to give you a quick touch base, and then we're going to dive into the next 2 episodes on specific coping skills. Ultimately, building coping skills starts with you role modeling them. Okay, I know life is hard. You've got a kid who's different. We didn't sign up for that. But guess what? 50% of the U.S. population, 54.2% of the U.S. population in 2011 had a child with a physical or mental health problem. So that's everything from obesity to eczema and asthma to pandas, Lyme disease, depression, all types of things. So you are not alone. Okay. Why you are different is you are badass. You are here and you are like, I'm going to master this special needs, difficult kid, whatever you want to call yourself, you're going to master it. And you can. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. Don't let your psychiatrist say, well, they need this psychiatric medication. I recently am working with somebody who, came in with the shopping cart diagnoses of everything. I mean, I'm telling you, like everything, like dyslexia, mood disorder, possible autism, ADHD, anxiety, OCD, everything, right? So I was like, think maybe this is PANS, right? So I do the brain map. I'm like, this is PANS. And then so we start treating like it's PANS, right? Of course, I sent them to a medical provider who verified it. But, by the time that happened, we started doing some treatments and stuff. And guess what? Started getting better. Vitamin A started making things get better. And so they took them off the psych meds and still on one psych med at a low level, but was on multiple psych meds. And again, getting better. And the psychiatrist was like, I'm not in agreement with this. And the mother's like, but she's getting better. Like, why would you not be in agreement with this? It's just unbelievable to me. So you have to be of course, CEO of your child's mental health, but it really starts honestly at home, and you have to foster things. So even in that really dysregulated kid, this was an A-game parent mom really thinking she was doing best. And what we had to do was to really tweak what we were reinforcing. We also had to be careful not to bubble wrap. That is super important. But you can't just say, oh, just go bowling with no bumpers, right? You have to teach the skills. So it starts with you role modeling, being very what I call metacognitive, taking what you're saying, what you're thinking, and bringing it out loud, making the implicit explicit. And if you heard me before, you got to reinforce the behaviors you want. That is really where we start, and there's lots of language. We're going to continue to dive into this in the next 2 shorter episodes, but it's really important. This is the key to mental health: frustration tolerance and coping skills. Of course, it's a lot easier when you have a regulated brain and body. And that's where, if you're looking for solutions, we have all kinds of solutions. Sometimes it's working one-on-one with us. Sometimes it's others. You can go to drroseann.com/help. Our Neurotastic line comes out in August of 2023. You can go to the website and get on our wait list. There's going to be unbelievable specials that will be the only time ever that we're going to offer certain specials. Will be lifetime specials. How cool is that? I'm so excited. And the multi-mag brain is the first one. And it's this magnesium is going to be the shizzle. So wherever you are in the journey, Coping skills is where it's at. Continue to listen to this series. Share it with your friends. Share this with your spouse. Share this with Nona, who's not listening to you, because Nona, you love your grandbaby. You need to reinforce and support their learning because it's about learning. Once we understand it's about learning, we don't have to personalize the behavior. Your kid's not doing this on purpose, and every brain is capable of learning. It's just that our neurodivergent brains need a lot more patience.